Okay. If it's Saturday, is it Saturday?
It is.
It's Saturday. Hello,
is it the
everybody.
Second Saturday?
It's the second Saturday.
Well, that's
It's
right.
every other Saturday.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That's not today.
Hello, everybody. Oh, we're there too. Look at that. Say g'day if you're out there. It's nice to see you if you are. Welcome to Saturday streaming variety style. I'm hoping we've got some company out there joining in for some varietous fun. Roll up, as we say. I'm even thinking that there might be some on a first date out there. Do you think?
Do you think so? It's a great way to go. First date, variety night. It'll sort some things out pretty quick.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, so Chloe and I are sitting in our studio. We've got some new people this week, I think, and so we'll let you know where we are. We're in the central tablelands of New South Wales, Australia. Milky Way. So behind you there, 300 kilometres or so, a little bit less. This is down the hill to Sydney town. Off to the behind us here, we've got the long road to the west, and it's Wiradjuri country. Really fantastic. It's one of the great pleasures of my life to be able to call this place home, I think. And we're very... we feel very thankful that it's been looked after for so many thousands and thousands of years. Been looked after by the Wiradjuri people and looked after the Wiradjuri people, and we're now the beneficiaries of that. We'd like to remember that before we start. Variety night, yeah, like I say, I hope there may be some people out there on a first date. You never know, I'll just check. You never know.
Yeah, put your hands up, be honest.
Yeah.
If you're on your first date, let us know. Or if
Or
you'd like to be and you can't be. That's of course a possibility.
say hello if you're out there. It'd be lovely to see you. The technology kind of shifts its goalposts all the time, but we're hoping we've got some company. We've had a good week. We've had 2 gigs this week, everybody. Hornsby Folk Club last night. Terrific night too.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And another folk club next week. We'll be up in the Hunter next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Every other week, Chloe.
Every other week. So instead of Saturday streaming, we'll be at the folk club, and we can let you know about that on Facebook.
Hi, Heather from the Sydney Hills. First comment. It's nice to see you. I don't know if you're on a first date, but
Thanks. Jason knows he's here now.
yeah, that's right. It's good to know we're here. This is a song that actually it's a funny one. This one, my Uncle Norm used to sing a little bit of this, and then I heard David de Hugard sing it at the National Folk Festival about 1,000 years ago, and it reminded me of Uncle Norm, and it's kind of a cautionary tale. Hey, Ray and Shireen, hello from the good old Central Coast. We're all at home. That's the one thing you can guarantee at the moment. But I like to think of these variety nights as set in the kind of Mystic Park pub of your mind. Yeah? So wherever your local Mystic Park pub is, picture yourself there. And in this case, on a first date.
Do we have it?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I took my girl to a ball one night. It was a social hop. We danced and danced and danced some more till the dancing had to stop. It's then we went to a restaurant at the corner of the street. Well, she said she wasn't hungry, but this is what she ate. Beefsteak raw, a lobster claw, some pickles and some toast, tomato sauce and asparagus, some corned beef and some roast, some Irish stew, pig trotters too. Her appetite was immense. When she called for pie, well, I thought I'd die, for I had but 18 pence. Well, she said she wasn't thirsty, but she had an awful tang. After eating all that stuff, this is what she drank. A whiskey sling, a glass of gin, she made me shake with fear. A ginger pop with rum on top and a great big jug of beer. A gin cocktail, a glass of ale, she ought to have had more sense. When she called for more, well, I fell off the floor, for I had but 18 pence. Well, maybe it can end well. She said she'd bring her family round and we'd have lots of fun. I gave the man the 18 pence, this is what he'd done. He broke my nose, he tore my clothes, he hit me on the jaw. Well, he gave me the prize of a pair of black eyes and with me wiped the floor. He caught me where my pants hung loose, fired me over the fence, said take my advice, don't try it twice if you have but 18 pence. Hilarity from Bullocky-Oh. One of the very best at a variety night I'll build. Oh, that's F for far out. Funny thing that. Oh, Bill Case, long since passed away, but Bill was a wonderful button accordion player and a great yarn spinner. My goodness, he's probably amongst the very best yarn tellers I've ever heard in my life. So, you want a variety night?
Yeah.
Get Bill along. He'll
He
make
can tell
the
you
night
his
for
mushy
you.
peas story.
Heather's waiting for the candle to cook the guitar. It's not even warm yet.
It's okay.
It's
It's
a
not
slow
as
roast.
It's not as close as it looks.
No, it's not. Cheers, everybody, and welcome to Saturday streaming variety style.
Yes. Find your drink, whatever your choice, whatever you've got in the larder.
Hello, Jim. Jim Lowe's here. The other
Hi,
two,
Jim.
maybe. I don't know, but good to see you, Jim. Not that we can see you, but you know what I mean. COVID's put a lot of words in quotes. You notice that?
Yes.
All kinds of words coming in now in quotes. Good to see you. A couple of tunes now that have a really nice story. They came from the Kyle family up in Nulla Creek area of New South Wales, so about 30 mile inland from Kempsey, up into the green country. The Kyles were neighbours of Slim Dusty when he was growing up, the Kirkpatricks, and the little beautiful valley, isn't it?
It's
For
just
people who
stunning.
come from sort of western and central New South Wales, it's the kind of green that makes you suspicious. You know, as they've got connections or something.
Where the grass looks like it's growing in wrinkles. Yeah. There's so much grass it can't actually fit in a flat.
Hi, Dot. Always look on the bright side of life. Perfect choice, Dot, last night. That was great. A couple of tunes. And we learnt lots of tunes from Vaughan Kyle, who wrote lots of tunes, and he had a recording of his Uncle Charlie, which had been made back in the 80s, which had some more wonderful dance tunes. Really great feel. I got to actually record with Vaughan. We went up for a trip there to Kempsey and finding tunes and talking to the old players with Bruce Cameron and Rob Willis. And, I learned a lot on that trip. Alan Musgrove gave me some great advice when we were going up to record with Vaughan. He said, 2 chords, maybe a third. That's it. Don't push it.
Don't muck it back.
And
He
Vaughan,
was actually, well, I'm trying to remember what Vaughan thought when you got there.
Oh, we had a lovely time together, but he was a very cheeky old man. he was fitter than me then. He's long since passed away again. The old ones are are gone. But Vaughan used to say, "Oh, you like playing with it, but I'd be better if I got rid of these things." He didn't like these capos. He'd get rid of that and you'd be all right.
I'd be okay if your fiddle was in a key. I could play with.
Here's a couple of jigs, single jigs, real bush jigs these, and they didn't have names like a lot of bush musicians. They just said, here's a jig, here's another one, set tune, and so we've named a few of them over the years. And so what had happened is we've called these two tunes. The second one we called Fuller's Barn. Now Fuller's Barn was a big dance out there at Nulla Creek. Everyone described it as this enormous dance until we worked out that Fuller's Barn itself was no bigger than your lounge room. But there was still a lot of people.
Still everyone went.
Yeah, I think most of them were hanging out the edges and drinking beer. But Fuller's Barn's the second tune. And the first one we called the Corkwood Jig. Now, Corkwood is some local vegetation in that part of the world. And we got stories. Hello, John. Granna just made it in there.
Did it.
Yeah. The Corkwood Jig. So Corkwood is local vegetation, and no matter who we spoke to, it seemed, amongst the old players up there, as they talked about their old stories to Rob, and we found out about the old days, they would say, "Oh, and we used to make some pocket money. We'd collect corkwood." "Oh, righto. What did you do with it?" "Oh, well, we just took it into town," and then eventually another old bloke, Cecil Chapman, said, "Well, we took it to the pharmacy. The pharmacist used to buy it."
Yeah, and what did the pharmacist do with it?
Don't know. All these old men, I think, I don't know if any of the women mentioned it, but the men said they used to collect it as kids and take it to the pharmacy. And the point there is they were kids and they never knew, even to this day, I don't know what they used it for. We were staying with a lovely lady in Kempsey there, and she said, "I don't know either." And as the days up there went past by, she said, "Well, I know who will know. There's a retired pharmacist in town." And so I can still see her in the old style phone, with the windy cord. And she rang up, and we all gathered around, Rob and Bruce and Chloe and myself, dying to find out what did they use the corkwood for. And eventually he got on the phone, and you could see this wonderful lady's face change as she got the answer. And then she kind of got a smirk on her face, and she said, "Oh, all right. And that's all it was used for? Right, okay. Oh, all right." She got off the phone. She said it was for venereal disease.
So all the kids were collecting it and none of them knew what for.
So we've called this tune, which is an itchy sort of a thing, the Corkwood Jig.
Yes.
Oh, Doctor, what's the difference between crabs and lobsters?
Well, crabs go sideways.
Oh, I think I've got lobsters.
Oh, you poor thing.
Part of the world as well. In America, they have a lot of versions of the old Casey Jones story. You've all heard at least a version of it somewhere, whether it's some old folk sort of version or maybe the Grateful Dead's version. It's a lovely old song, one of Joanna's favourites. Out here, the Casey Jones story happened as well, but it was slightly different, same sort of vibe. Another mid-north coast song. Out here in America, Casey Jones. Out here, it was Billy Sheahan.
On the 40-pounder rail steamed the C-16, commanded by its driver, Mr. Billy Sheahan. The manager gave orders on the strict QT to run a faster schedule than the spirit of P. I keep that regulator open, let the black smoke roll. Pile on all the floorboards if we run out of coal. If we don't beat that record, Billy said to his mates, and my neighbours Carapita at the Golden Gate. Oh, Billy Sheahan ran a faster schedule, yeah.
Billy Sheahan,
A mighty man was he.
Billy Sheahan,
Ran a faster schedule. He ran a faster schedule than the spirit of P. The fireman was a punting boy from Narrabeen. He said, I'll lay the odds against the C-16. Billy flashed a roll of notes. He said it was a dare. The boiler then exploded, threw them both in the air. Said Billy to the fireman as they left the wreck, I don't know where we're going, but we're neck and neck. The fireman said to Billy, well, I tell you what I'll do. I'll bet another fiver I go higher than you. Oh,
Billy Sheahan,
ran a faster schedule, yeah.
Billy Sheahan,
Mighty man was he.
Billy Sheahan.
Ran a faster schedule. He ran a faster schedule than the spirit of P. The wife of driver Sheahan was at home in bed when the railway wire that her built was dead. She called her kiddies round and saying, listen, honey lambs, the next old man you get will be a god in a van. The railway's all in mourning now for Billy Sheahan. No more we'll hear a puffing of his C-16. Just scrape on all the locals, both the goods and the mails, from Binda and Mount Isa down to New South Wales. Oh,
Billy Sheahan,
ran a faster schedule, yeah.
Billy Sheahan,
A mighty man was he.
Billy Sheahan.
Ran a faster schedule. He ran a faster schedule than the spirit of P.
There is nothing that gets my smile going for me in the Australian tradition like the way we treat American folk songs. There's a long tradition of them being turned around. Good on you, Dot. Yeah, fun stuff, isn't it? Fun. Look, the variety nights, I don't know about you guys out there, but for me, it goes right back to being a kid. When I was a kid, when you had a bit of a fire going, maybe after the shearing or you know, sometime when there were people around, maybe some mates and mum and dads were up or something like that, that's just what happened. You'd get a joke, you'd get a story, someone would sing a song, the terps would be flowing, and the more the beer flowed, the more stories would come out. A variety night was entertainment, that's what it was. Then we sort of found ourselves with a job of playing rock and roll, and we sort of forgot about that stuff for about 10, 12 years, and we hit the festivals. And the variety nights came back at us in a hurry. It doesn't matter if it's a folk festival or a town festival, all kinds of festivals, and indeed just kind of gigs, variety nights came back. And there's a lot to love about them because all of a sudden we were surrounded by really good storytellers, yarn spinners, tune players. And in particular, I think the thing that was really nice about them, looking back on it, is you got some of the great performers at the festival, but not doing their normal shtick. They'd normally come with an idea that this is going to be fun or interesting, vibey, spiky, always good for a laugh.
Or it's a chance to play that Russian thing I never get to play, you know. So it would all be everything.
Absolutely. You know? And one of the people who I really enjoyed hanging around with in terms of variety was Denis Kevans. Now, You'll know, I'm sure, out there, well, this is a poem of Denis's called The Greatest Kick of All, and it's a dedication from me to all the people out there who are not here and watching the football.
Yes. Maybe
Right.
you'll catch this on YouTube later.
That's right. It's not my code of football, it's that south of the border one. They give you a point for a miss down there. I always think you can tell a lot about someone by the code of football they support. I was a rugby league man and player and still follow rugby league pretty closely. Not tonight though. Tonight we're going to do one for the Victorians. This is The Greatest Kick of All.
All right. You won't believe it, folks?
Oh, they're all true stories tonight.
Absolutely.
There's no lies being told tonight, none at all. I can hear the girls warming up out there too. We've got a couple of guest artists. I thought we were going to have Joanna, but she's not here tonight. She sent a substitute. But Megan's got something for you too. So. Well, some kicks shine like silver foil. Some kicks shine like jewels. But the greatest kickers in the world are playing Aussie rules. And the kick that shattered diamonds on that day in Melbourne town was Mulrooney's 7-pointer. And it clinched the footy crown. 7-pointer? You're joking? 7 points, mate. Every one. So zip your lip and listen, and I'll tell you how it's done. Now there was Archie McNamara. He could kick the balls out of sight. But Archibald Mulrooney had a kick like dynamite. He kicked the ball so hard one day, a Melbourne paper states, St. Peter marked it as it whistled through the pearly gates. When saints were praying secretly to ascend to heaven's station, they'd telephone Mulrooney to improve their levitation. When the space crew in the rocket had no grog there, not a drap, he kicked them up a carton with a message, beer on tap. Could he kick? When he was little, he towed his brother's ass and he landed in a ski lift up at Kosciuszko Pass. But he's bruised himself a little and his instep's out of joint from kicking up the broken lift at Sydney's Centre Point. Now it's the Melbourne footy final. His team is 6 points shy till Archie, like a swallow, leaps up, climbing in the sky. Then, like a Chinese acrobat, fingertips the ball, then wipes it on his jersey, the famous number 10. The timer's eyes are tightening, his fingers on the hooter, and the crowd commenced their chanting, Archie Booter! Archie Booter! Archie Booter? Is that a mantra? He was studying the Edda. Archie Booter! Archie Booter! Or a brand of local cheddar. Archie Booter? Is that a mountain in Arabian romance where the prince of jewelled treasures led his harem in a dance? With a what? Archie Booter! Did they mean, he wonders, as he dodges for the goalposts, dives and stuffs and blunders. Booter, Archie, Booter! The bell goes ding-a-ling, and Archie punts that football with a paralysing ping. The ball explodes off Archie's boot. Now, don't none of yous laugh. Archie kicks that ball so hard, he busts it clean in half, and both halves keep on going. He's silenced every doubter. The bladder whizzes through the goal, the cover through the outer. The crowd is white, breathless. It's impossible. Is he gonna? It's 6 points for the bladder, for the cover, just the oneer. How this was the 7-pointer, the first one ever scored. 10 times 10,000 voices opened, throttles up and roared. The flagman, like a sailor on a carry at sea, was waving all his flags at once, and then he yelled, Yippee! The bell, it stopped. The whistle blew. The scorer marked it up. And that's how Big Mulrooney won the Melbourne Footy Cup. No one writes them like Denis Kevans. No one. Frank and Marilyn are out there. Hello. Miss you guys. Be nice to catch up down the track one day. All right, a song now from Mystic Park, written by Arthur Spendlow Baulch 100 and something years ago. He was a wheat and sheep farmer in northwestern Victoria, called his property Bugger Castle. You wanted to write a letter to the bloke who wrote this song, you'd write Arthur Spendlow, Baulch, Bargo Castle, Mystic Park. I'm really hoping you don't need a postcode for that kind of address. It seems a shame if you do.
It's a disreputable kind of song.
It sure is.
Yeah, we heard it from the gay charmers singing of it. I remember seeing them at the National Folk Festival in particular. In there, they had sort of pinstripe shirts and ukuleles and were very kind of nattily dressed. But I think they managed to take everyone for a whiskey by saying how nervous they were to be on a big stage.
Yeah, they did.
What did I say?
Gay charmers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're conflating a couple of sources for the song. That's all right. We got it from...
No, it was the Baulch brothers that we saw in the pinstripe suits and the ukuleles singing this song.
Oh, Ilona wants to know what footy team I support. The Sharks.
Yeah.
I've supported the Sharkies since I was 4 years of age. I wandered into the grand final. I was just little, and there was a little black and white telly in there, and the Sharks were playing Manly, and famously the toughest grand final of all time. And I said to my mum, or maybe it was my Uncle Peter, it's a bit of debate about that. I said, who's going to win? And they all said, Manly are going to win. So, well, I'll go for the Sharks. And no one knows how to suffer like a Sharks fan.
Oh, you had a grand final not so long ago.
So my big daughter Megan and I in 2016 went down to the grand final thinking even if they lose, this will be an adventure. And they didn't. They won their first ever grand final. I've got to tell you, nearly 50 years of supporting that team, that felt unbelievable. And it's right up there with meeting the love of my life. And it was the great days. The great days.
You're talking about me, aren't you?
Yeah, of course,
oh, good.
Of course. Yes. So this one is, the Mystic Park pub. We've got the placemat here from a variety night where we got to sing this one. And, you don't need to know too much about it. Rabbitohs for you? Yeah, well, see the Rabbitohs are... I always think of the Rabbitohs as everyone's second favourite team if you don't go for them. So that would be a great outcome if the Bunnies won the comp from here. I would like that a lot. If they win, then they're going to play well to do it. Yeah, and they're a terrific team. Always terrific team. All right, a song called You Can't Change It.
Lazy men, meet them when you may. They've never got a penny, always stony broke, they say. For me it's just the other way. I'm a man of biz. I've always got a shilling in my pocket. Here it is, but I can't change it. I can't change it. The reason why I'll let you know, it's one I made myself, and so I can't change it. I don't intend to try. But I hope to cheat a blind man in that sweet by and by.
Goodness.
Oh, I never was a proud man, as anyone can see. The fashions I don't care about, clothes don't trouble me. I never was a masher, for I'm satisfied to know I've got but one shirt to me back. I can say that although I can't change it, I can't change it. I've got but one shirt to me back, and it fits me like a bloomin' sack, and I can't change it. I don't intend to try. 'Cause while it's being washed, I lie in bed until it's dry. I'd get married like a lot of foolish men. I found the girl and bought the ring. I got married there and then. But when the job was over, well, I was down a peg. Her hair, her eyes, her teeth were false, and she had a wooden leg. But I can't change it. I can't change it. Was a great surprise to me. Half a woman, half a tree, but I can't
change it.
I don't intend to try. I'll just chop her up for firewood in that sweet by and by.
Firewood? It's going to snow on Tuesday.
said you've got another one and that makes you just a score. And such a lovely little girl, I hope you'll wish her joy. Well, I wished her to old Nick, for what I wanted was a boy. But I can't change it, I can't change it. I asked a lot who ought to know. I asked the nurse and she said
no.
She can't change it, she doesn't intend to try. But she hopes I'll have a dozen in that sweet by and by.
God bless you and bugger me. Another Victorian tune. Peter Ellis was a wonderful man to have on a variety night. One of the best. Like a pill in the white cat's eye, the white cat said, oh my, the white cat said, you want some more, the white cat said, no, my eye's too sore. It's a good old tune too. Good fun. We've got a Victorian tune and a Tassie tune in there. It's time for the first of our special guests. Jenny, I'm sorry if your screen is freezing. It seems from this end to be going out. Our old pedal-powered NBN can be a little bit funny, but it all seems to be going out. It can be somewhere down the line. What we do is we are running two cameras, and what we do is we, if you don't know already, it'll stay up on Facebook, and then over the next couple of days we'll get a version up to YouTube with the really good camera and the good mics, and hopefully it sounds and looks terrific. If you want to catch up, hopefully the internet sorts itself out. We've got good weather here, and from here it does seem to be going out all right. These are free shows. We've got some new people tuning in, and on the YouTube, doesn't matter where you're watching or when, they are free shows, but it is very much appreciated if you're keen to donate or throw a bit in the hat. We pass the hat around in typical Variety Club style. Our website is the place. I'm going to throw a link on right now, just to make it easy. PayPal will take credit cards on the website. Buy an album, that's just as good, really, even better in some ways. Our MP3 download albums are good because they go straight from us to you, and for the last couple of years we've been running those as a pay what you like. So you can pay $1 and help yourself. Honestly, do. We just want people to hear the music. That's our main aim. But if you want to pay $1,000, you can too. I think I should introduce Megan Roweth now. Now, Megan is now 14, approaching 15, approaching 38, and she's Yeah, she's growing fast. But, it was such a pleasure when our first child came along. We would take her around to all the festivals. She did 4 festivals in 3 different states in her first 5 or 6 weeks of life. That's how quickly.
Don't ever do that.
That's how quickly she hit the ground running. And we'd plonk her in the middle of the venue, and we'd sing our concerts. I remember when she was about 3.5, 4, we did that You Can't Change It song at a lovely sort of atmospheric venue down in Cygnet in Tasmania. And Megan was sitting right smack bang in the middle of the crowd, and we just got into the introduction for the song, and Megan yells out, "I hate this song!" That's Megan for you. I'm not sure what she's got. I think she's got a Blue the Shearer poem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the microphone, Megan Roweth.
I mean, as you can see, I have changed both greatly and not at all. This is indeed a Blue the Shearer poem that I just found in the book, and I read it. I thought, I have to share that one because it's simply delightful. It's written in the book here with the note, "This was prompted by a sermon for children. I thought it might not hurt the grown-ups either," which I think is wonderful. 3 men on a mountain peak gazed in silent awe on the scenic grandeur spread beneath the skies, on the mist above the treetops, the sun on silver streams, and each man saw the scene through different eyes. One man was a preacher. He sank down on his knees and thanked his God for nature's glories grand, confessed his own humility, the puny lot of man, and gloried in the sight his eyes had scanned. One man was an artist, a painter of renown, and he saw the scene surrounded by a frame. He knew if he could find the skill to capture what he saw, then he would be assured of wealth and fame. The third man was a farmer. He stood and let his gaze range as far as vision would allow, o'er rugged hills and valleys, and he murmured to himself, "What a bloody lousy place to lose a cow."
Thank you, Megan G. Good on you, Digger. Blue the Shearer, what a great man. I'm sure those of you remember Blue, whether you heard his poetry on ABC radio. Blue passed away a few years ago now. He lived to a very, very fine old age, and we're very pleased. In our very early days on the festival scene, Blue would he'd come to our gigs, or we'd be playing gigs together in various places around the place, or we'd be out, and he'd actually write requests for our songs in rhyme in a box somewhere out there. I've got a few of Blue's poems, which is kind of our songs all put into rhyme. I miss Blue. He's a very fine poet and an even better human being, and he never shore a sheep in his life, by the way. I was hoping Joanna could come tonight, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I know there's some disappointment out there, but we really do have a very fine substitute. Would you please... Oh, my goodness. There's royalty in the room. Would you please welcome to the microphone the Queen of Hearts?
Hi, guys. It's hard to have some face paint.
All right, now, the Queen of Hearts has been learning a new poem over the last couple of days, and I'm not sure how we'll go, but we're going to give it a... Is that right? That's the one you want to do?
Yes.
All right.
And also, I love the Ukulele song.
Well, see, the Queen of Hearts does like the You Can't Change It song. She's our favourite offspring. That's all right. Queen of Hearts, would you please deliver your poem to your royal subjects?
You have to call me Your Majesty.
Oh, we will call you
Your Majesty, sorry.
This is a poem that I got from a good book that I like from the poems.
What's the book called? Do you remember?
Called Doodle Dum Dancing.
Doodle Dum Dancing, yes.
Amazing poems, and I picked one called Fly is Fly.
Okay.
So here it is. If flies fly, can bees be? Can spiders spy? Can fleas flee? Can a watches watch? Can ties tie? Catfish. Fries fry.
Oh, yay! A fries fry. Well done. I don't know the answer to any of those questions. You've got me stumped, Your Majesty.
That's all I got a joke.
Oh, okay.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Good.
Good who?
Good night. Bye. Good night. Bye. Good night. Bye. Good night.
Bye. I really do wish Joanna was here tonight. She could have celebrated her fine achievement of 10 out of 10 in her end of term spelling test. Okay. Moving right along. Another very, very fine person to have at a variety night. It's a bit of a theme tonight. Also no longer with us. We did a poem from Denis Kevans earlier, and this is a song we learnt from Jacko Kevans. Of all the people who taught us the thing that we do in the very early days, I think Jacko was probably the biggest influence in the early days. He was not only a wonderful musician and a great singer, a really good singer, but I thought a wise man and an educator. So
serious educator. I remember one of the sessions down in the dugout at Kiama there. Do you remember? Jacko was down there playing tunes, and everyone was hanging off every note trying to learn his tunes, and someone jumped in a bit early. He'd only just started, and he stopped. He said, even Mozart had to hear it once. And there was silence.
We wanted to make T-shirts, didn't we?
Yeah, there was silence for a good couple of times through after that, until he went, you can play. But really, it was, we learnt a lot from him.
I've got to say that dugout at Kiama Festival was one of the very best variety night venues of all time. I mean,
it was, because it was dark and disreputable looking. So everybody had kind of let their hair down there. There was a Guinness bar and a tar floor, because actually it was underneath the building. The old pavilion at Kiama used to have big arches around the side, and they closed them in with plywood. The volunteers would be there in the days before the festival, close it in, make it dark, hang lights, put in the bar, put in the stage. It was a wonderful space.
That festival was one of a kind. It really was. And it blew our minds so much. They used to give us a bed at the Grand Hotel in Kiama, and the first 3 festivals I didn't sleep at all. I literally went down on Friday morning and stayed up living on Guinness and pies for days, and just soaking up the sessions and the performers. And one of them, most certainly, that we got a lot out of was listening to Jacko. And he sang this song. He didn't write it, but he sang it so well that I thought, I'll better learn that one. I was very pleased when I said to Jack I'd like to learn it, and he said, well, it comes from Condo. He knew I was a Tottenham boy, and so it's sort of, Condo is, if you're not familiar with the area we're talking about, just west of here. There's Tottenham is right smack bang in the middle of New South Wales, and just down the road is Condo, and Condo's a bit bigger. They like to tell you they're the middle of New South Wales, but they're a little off. They're just a little off. But that's where this song comes from. Mind you, the bloke in this song's been around a bit.
So he says.
Mm-hmm. The Maryborough Miner. Come all you sons of liberty and listen to me song. I'll sing you me observations and it won't take very long. I've fossicked all over this continent 5,000 miles or more, and many's the time I might have starved but for the cheek I bore. I've been on all the diggings, boys, from famous Ballarat. I've long-tongued on the Lachlan and I've fossicked lambing fat. So you may understand me, boys, just from this little rhyme. I'm a Maryborough Miner, and I'm one of the good old times. Now I came to the Fitzroy River Bendigo rig. I had a shovel and pick and pan, and for a licence I begged. But the assayman called me a loafer, said for work I'd no desire. So to do the bastard justice, boys, I set his office on fire. Oh yes, me jolly jokers, I've done it on the cross. Although I carry me bluey now, I've sweated many a horse. I've helped to rob the escort boys of many an ounce of gold, and the traps have trailed upon me tail more times than I've ever told. Ah yes, the traps have trailed me and been frightened out of their stripes. They never could have caught me, for they feared my cure for gripes. And well they knew I carried it, as they had often seen. But listening in me flipper chaps, me patent pill machine. Anxiety and misery, me grim companions there. I've got all the clay at Bendigo, and I chanced me arm at you, and I wound up me avocation with 10 years on cockatoo. I've been on all the diggings, boys, from famous Ballarat. The long tongued on the Lachlan and the Fossick land in flat. So you may understand me, boys, who's from this little rhyme. I'm a Maryborough miner, and I'm one of the good old time. I'm a Maryborough miner. I was definitely hearing Jacko in there. He was such a kind and generous man to us, and I'm pleased to say the writer of this next song in our little gold 1-2 has not passed away. She's a great mate and a wonderful human and a fantastic songwriter. I'm sure some of you will know her. Ilona Harker is her name. And she sent this song to us a little while ago, last year. And it's a song called The Lost City of Solferino.
There are all sorts of stories. You know, the longer people are around and live in a place and move around, the more there are forgotten places as well. And I know Bob Rummery's written some marvellous songs about some of the people who just vanished during the gold rush in Western Australia. They went off into the bush and were never seen again. Now here, Ilona's talked about a town, Solferino, which has been reclaimed by the bush. It's up there inland from Grafton. And everyone came, they had their dreams, they lived there. And now
there are some,
wins out.
Yeah, we did a show at Nimboida Festival last year, one of the few gigs we've done over the last year. We were lucky, actually. We squeezed in quite a few little performances that were in the gaps in COVID, when things could happen. And Nimboyd was a terrific festival, really good one. One of a kind, I would call it. It was an unusual festival. If you love camping and dogs and fires and good old style variety fun,
Yeah, they had games, fantastic games.
For the kids and the big kids. But this we did a show on Solferino and the stories around it, and it's quite extraordinary. But
that was an amazing show. Ilona, you've got to do that again sometime. It's great.
Yeah, as Chloe tunes, it's worth just thinking. I mean, the gold rush wasn't just they came and went; it was a movable feast. You know, the early rushes, and then the new rushes would pop up, and as Chloe was pointing out, sometimes they were false claims. You know, people would head off, sometimes in quite big numbers, and arrive somewhere, and there's just
no water
nothing.
there.
No water, no gold. Meanwhile, they're travelling around the countryside and having an enormous impact. Australia, before the Victorian era in the late 19th century, Australia was already an extraordinarily multicultural country. And we all know some of the stories about the problems that were caused, but it's worth also remembering that it was, in a lot of ways, an extraordinarily successful experiment too. We're still benefiting from that now, I hope.
All right, let's see.
With a slight, with a very large kind of caveat where we need to, when I say that sort of thing, it's good to remember how poorly the first Australians were treated, generally speaking, in those rushes. The lost city of Solferino.
But the hard granite seams breaks men. Tide foreigners arrive, their hopes still alive, till the toil and strife ruptures them. In the lost city of Solferino, their graves are now shrouded in green, and the lives of the wives were no children survive, are hidden beneath engraved memory. The gold it once flowed, but the slog did erode, and the rust did corrode the best of them. And the lights of the town have all flickered down on the king and his crown and all his men. City of Solferino, their graves are now shrouded in green, and the lives of the wives where no children survive are hidden beneath engraved memory. In the deep of the bush, the old ones look at the greed and the hope of white man. Yeah, their rum and their brawls, how they always want more, yet the peace they ignore for their sins. It's the lost city of Solferino, their graves are now shrouded in green, and the lives of the wives where no children survive are hidden beneath engraved memory. trees crumbled down, fallen to the ground, and the bush it surrounds the dead trees. Now the trees all consume the hunger that was due, and the wildflowers swoop and then fall. For the lost city of Solferino, their graves are now shrouded in green, and the lives of the wives where no children survived are hidden beneath a great memory.
Well done, Ilona Harker, for a beautiful song. But it's a variety night. Often was a dance, and I think that's why we kind of like to include quite a few dance tunes in amongst them. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you will remember the dances. Then you'd have the extras, and I can imagine that song as being sung as an extra at a dance. This is a medley. This next one. Hello, Sam. It's nice to see you. Again, see in quotes, but you know, nice to have some company. A couple of new people tuning in, so we do pass the hat around. It is a free show. We say always come. I mean, honestly, regardless of any intent or ability to put any money in our account, but these are the gigs we do at the moment. And if you do have a spare dollar or two, the website address is the best place to jump in and buy an album or donate or buy a download album, but mostly just good to have your company.
And thanks to everyone who's been coming along and supporting this. Yeah. It's getting us through a long time at home. I hope it is getting you through a long time at home too.
Yeah. A medley, a very good old song, a favourite from when I was a kid, put together with a poem that I've just learned over the last few years, so fairly recently. They go together very nicely. And a bunch of Australian dance tunes all stuck together in this medley. So we've got, what have we got? We've got another Kyle tune, if you've been here since the start. We've got Charlie Kyle's March to start with. The King of Bush Fiddlers, the old Joe Yates tunes.
Yep. In the
It's
middle.
a controversial statement, depending on who you're talking to. From Sofala. Very musical town, Sofala.
Indeed.
What's this one? We recorded an album of Joe Yates tunes with Mike Martin and Jindy and Stretch, Stephen Teakle, back in 97, I think. And I think Mike called this one, was it Wallaby Rocks? Yeah.
That sounds right.
It's a jig anyway, a little single jig. That one. And the tune on the end is an unusual tune, and it comes from the remarkable Frank Collins. Frank Collins lived at Boxers Creek, just sort of north and east on the Hume out of Goulburn. Boxers Creek, the old stomping ground for me when I was a kid, on farms out in that part of the world.
And that's called the Bowral jig.
Yeah, the Bowral jig.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jenny, it does sound like it's giving you some grief, but do jump on. Maybe it'll be on Facebook, I hope, if we just send it up. But the good
YouTube
one,
YouTube as well.
Yeah, the YouTube one, we've tried to work out the technology, and we've got 2 cameras and 2 mics, and the good mics and camera go to YouTube. Not meaning to sell.
And you get the crappy one tonight.
Yeah.
No,
It's
we
kind of
go
the way
through the phone because that handles Facebook best for these ones.
the technology is still kind of, like I say, our old pedal-powered NBNs a little bit, but it seems to be going from this end. All right, so Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh,
Yes, sing along.
sing along. speckles mill, Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh. It's many a log I drew, Bullocky-Oh. I draw cedar, beech and pine, and I never get on the wine. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know, Bullocky-Oh. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know. Guinea and Anderson too, Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh. It's many a log they drew, Bullocky-Oh. But I can give 'em 1,000 feet, axe and square and never cheat. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know, Bullocky-Oh. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know. Here's Wobbles too, he brags, Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh, with his 40 Rawbone stags, Bullocky-Oh. But I can tell you it's no slander when I say I raise a dander, and they hear the crack of me whip, Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh, when they hear the crack of me whip, Bullocky-Oh. Well, Bogan Billy drove bullocks from Burke to Bathurst. He hails from wild Newcombe. Every tug in his team was a town, and I vow I can hear old geography driving him now. He was gaunt, he was burnt with the sun, tough as a side of sole leather, and hairy enough for a monkey. His language was so lurid and free, no paper could print his vocabulary. I can hear him when bogged in the winter. I see his hairy arms swinging his whip, and to me, the picture's as plain as a pub on the track.
A pub?
Which pub? Any pub, when you're driving out back. Up and down to the side of his team. He's cursing a flow like a hot lava stream. Up Mudgee, up Molong, G-Dubbo, you swine. Pull Ningen, you loafer, G-Back Narromine. Over parks, we're the blazers. Up Forbes, are you now? Up Goldong, up Warren, G Cobra, you cow. Will Carter's poem. Well, I draw for Speckles Mill, Bullocky-Oh, Bullocky-Oh. It's many a log I drew, Bullocky-Oh. I can see the beech and pine just occasionally on the wine. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know, Bullocky-Oh. I'm the king of the bullock drivers, don't you know. Off to Bowral, Frank Collins' Bowral jig. Yes, Heather, you don't hear Molong mentioned in enough songs. Forgive me if you were here last Saturday streaming, but I think this story came up that time too for some reason. I never lived in Molong, and my first memories of Molong are very vague because I was playing against them, playing rugby league on a very fierce day. The ground was hard and the Molong boys were big, and I got my head kicked in. I got knocked out. So I don't hold it against Molong. In fact, I quite like Molong. We've had some good times there, good gigs there over the past...
But you haven't forgotten.
I haven't forgotten. No. I haven't forgotten that lack of a memory. Hey, we're coming to the last three pieces, and there's a bit of a theme with it all. We've got a song that we learnt variety nights, goodness gracious. Maisie Tucker. If you had one person to invite, you'd get Maisie. She was a wonderful singer, a huge repertoire of bush songs, yes, but
lots of songs,
all
great
kinds,
songs,
all
and theatre,
kinds,
because they were into theatre when they were younger. They used to put on lots of shows, and so she had all sorts of songs, and she also had ads, really old advertisements from the radio. They were great.
Some of the bush singers do have a very straight style, and Maisie sometimes sang like that, but she had eyes that would light up. She was a real performer. When she wanted to get you, she'd get you. And I'm so pleased we got to hang out with Maisie just a little bit and learn from her. Thanks, Rob Willis. We actually learnt this song from Maisie and her two sisters, the Bryce sisters, as they were sort of calling themselves, singing in harmony. There was a big argument. I don't know if you know this, but in the early days of the Bush Music Club, there was a big argument between John Meredith and some other younger folks around about whether Bush songs could be sung in harmony. The funny things that cause these fractures and ruptures in the folk revival. Well, there they were, singing in beautiful harmony, and we fell in love with this song from that recording. And we mostly sang this song when we went down to join up with the Wongawilli Band. And the Wongawilli Band, we went down to Jamberoo. We lived in a little flat in Jamberoo, didn't we, Sam?
Yeah.
You're probably in that flat right now, I think. And we went down to join the Wongawilli Band. They were the best band of that kind at that time in Australia, with no question. They did the full colonial dance thing. They played wild pub gigs. We had everything with those guys. Great musicians, and we learnt a lot. We especially learned a lot because Graham Murray, the wonderful singer, best lagerphone player I've ever heard, and great dry frontman, started to have a few days off, so we'd end up sort of fronting the band as well, or at least singing the songs, I guess you'd say. So it was a wonderful learning thing. But it wasn't just that. We mentioned the Kiama Festival, and that band hosted the Kiama Festival. So we knew we wanted to get really involved with that festival, with the dugout and the wonderful, gosh, it was a good festival. Also the old Jamberoo Festival, very involved there with that bigger festival. They were great times down there in the Illawarra. And I think of Wongawilli with this song,
I'm a broken down old squatter, my cash it is all gone. Of troubles and bad seasons I complain. My cattle are all mortgaged, of horses I have none, and I've lost that little freehold on the plain. Oh, the stockyard's broken down and the wool shed's tumbling in. I've written to the mortgagees in vain. My wool, it is all damaged, and it is not worth a pin, and I've lost that little freehold on the plain. I commenced life as a squatter some 20 years ago, when fortune followed in my train. But I speculated heavy, and I'll have you all to know that I lost that little freehold on the plain. But the stockyard's broken down and the wool shed's tumbling in. I've written to the mortgagees in vain. My wool, it is all damaged, and it is not worth a pin, and I've lost that little freehold on the plain. Oh, I built myself a mansion, chose myself a wife, of her I have no reason to complain, for I thought I had sufficient to last me all my life, but I've lost that little freehold on the plain. For the stockyard's broken down and the wool shed's tumbling in. I've written to the mortgagees in vain. My wool, it is all damaged, and it is not worth a pin, and I've lost that little freehold on drover's life, droving cattle through the sunshine and the rain, and to leave her behind me, my own dear darling wife. We were happy on that freehold on the plain, but the stockyard's broken down and the wool shed's tumbling in. I've written to the mortgagees in vain. My wool, it is all damaged, and it is not worth a pin. And I've lost that little freehold on the plain.
It's not a funny song.
It's not a funny song.
Why are you laughing? Kim says, "Oh, hello. Yeah, Cabago. Well, another very fine festival. We've been attending the Cabago festivals since, I guess, the mid-90s when it was in town, and been to quite a few over the years, and it's always been a highlight of the calendar every year." Thanks, Sam. It's a beautiful old song. It's been very nice to pull it out again. It's not funny, though.
Not funny, no. I kind of laughed with enjoyment.
Oh, thanks, Ilona. Yeah, it is a beautiful old song, and again, there's been a lot of reminiscing tonight with people who were old mates where we learnt these songs, and we didn't set out to do this, did we? But it's just, and the nature of the beast, I think, is that people do pass away. We've spent our life talking and learning from people of all ages, including people much older than ourselves, and as we get old, we lose mates all the time. And,
It'd be quite a nice festival session idea, wouldn't it? Sing a song from someone you wish was here.
Yeah.
Quite nice. We'd kill everyone by Monday, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness.
There's a question from Peter. It was one of those tunes, Bullocky-Oh. It may be in Bullocky-Oh. We don't know them by that name,
No.
but who's to say? Possibly. And we did kind of.
The Joe Yates tunes didn't have names, a lot of them.
That's true.
They got given names, so it maybe very well, yeah.
The last two, we might even squeeze in a third. I hope that'd be nice. But we actually have in mind to do a couple of John Dengate songs now. Both of them are reminiscent of Kiama. We're back in that Kiama dugout fest in the 90s again, where we first heard John. That was the single best, most important concert of my life. I'd never understood my own culture until I heard John sing. All of a sudden he was singing about his family, and it was my family I was seeing, and he put them into a context where I finally understood where I came from. I can't overstate that. It's just how it was. John was a genius. You wouldn't like me to say so, but he was. And he passed away in 2013, and I miss him badly. But this is not a sad song of John's. This is a miracle-working song of John's. We did. John used to say, "We're bad company."
We're bad company.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's a song dedicated to the wonderful Cooper's Sparkling Ale. I've seen this song attract beer from anyone and everyone.
You think it's a nice little drinking song, but no. In John's hands, this song could steal beer from anybody. He sang this song at St Albans, and the beers appeared in front of him.
I'm reminded of one of the first times that we had Megan in our arms, and it was the Bullocky-Oh festival, and Megan was just approaching 1. She was little, and John, at the end of the festival, and we were really we were thirsty, and John already had his beer, and I had Megan.
Might have been his first beer, It was the start of the festival, wasn't it?
No, it was the end.
It was the end.
That's why we were so thirsty, Chloe.
Okay.
Well,
I knew we were thirsty for a reason.
Pretty thirsty at the start of festivals too. Anyway, I came up and said, "John, this is little Megan," and Megan reached out and tried to steal John's Coopers, and I've never seen a look of sort of pride but defensiveness kind of appear on someone's face, like, "John, don't take my beer." What a kid.
It's appraisal.
So, the Cooper's Sparkling Ale. True story again for the variety night. Before, hey?
Oh, I'm in the wrong place.
Okay. Before they hanged Ned Kelly in the jail, to make dead certain that his nerve wouldn't fail, he drank a glass of Cooper's sparkling ale. And he laughed in the face of the troopers. It's Australia's best, we all agree. If it wasn't for the Coopers, where would we be? We'd have to drink the residue of bogus chemistry. If it wasn't for the brew of the Coopers. Fill up your tankards, me thirsty gents. It's the only way to spend your dollars and your cents. It's made from natural ingredients. Well, there's health in the brew of the Coopers. It's Australia's best, we all agree. If it wasn't for the Coopers, where would we be? We'd have to drink the residue of bogus chemistry. If it wasn't for the brew of the Coopers. It's throw away your cocoa and your lemonade and toast the masters of the brewing trade, the pride of the city of Adelaide. Trust your thirst to the Coopers. It's Australia's best, we all agree. If it wasn't for the Coopers, where would we be? We'd have to drink the residue of bogus chemistry. If it wasn't for the brew of the Coopers. Hey! To stay healthy and you want to live, take heed of the sensible advice I give. Steer clear of the chemical preservative and stick to the brew of the Coopers. Don't throw away your money in the grocer's shops. Don't squander your wages on mutton chops, but save your money for the malt and the hops. The true blue brew of the Coopers, well, it's Australia's best, we all agree. If it wasn't for the Coopers, where would we be? Oh, we'd have to drink the residue of bogus chemistry. If it wasn't for the brew of the Coopers. Hey. Such fun in that dugout and at that festival. Now, this might turn out to be our last one tonight, and it's a song that's kind of come from nowhere. It's a song of John's, part of the Kiama festival. I think I should just paint a picture of that festival. It was not big. It was called the Australian Folk Festival. So really the proviso for sort of coming and being part of it was that you had told Australian stories. Whether that was in music or it didn't matter whether it was young or old or contemporary. Always had some great Aboriginal performers, various kinds, but it was Australian stories. That was what it was all about. And everyone got the same money. Everyone got the same. It was, you know.
No, it wasn't much money.
And it wasn't much.
You also got a room in the pub.
That's true.
So you had your accommodation and you had a really minimal fee. And everyone was there, even Stevens. And we had a whale of a weekend. It was a small enough festival for everyone to have more or less the same festival. Instead of being everybody off on their own stream and doing their own thing, there was enough for the jokes for there to be running jokes, you know, on the one big stage. And
because there was such a strong dance component, there was huge crowds in this little festival. So the first night, everyone did a song or two in the big old pavilion at Kiama. So I don't know what it seated, but a lot of people. And everyone at the festival came, as Chloe was saying, everyone at the same festival. So everyone came and you got to see everyone. And then everyone's name went into a kind of a hat and randomly were picked out of the hat on that first night.
put in a band.
And so you had a band mix-up, and at the end of the festival, you performed with whoever you were aligned with.
Yeah, so 3 piccolos and an accordion, and
Yeah, well, it could
you got
be.
what you got, and you had to find something in common to play.
And because we're COVID and we're all locked down at the moment, we're finding a bit of time to sort through a few old boxes here and there, just feeling a bit reflective, to be honest. And I found this song of John's, and it was a song John wrote for the band mix-up at the Kiama Festival in the year 2000. So back 21 years ago. And it's the tune of You Abalong Ball. John used to always say a good tune's far too important to just use for one song. So if he didn't have an original tune, he'd borrow a good one. And this is the tune You Abalong Ball, or Wallaby Ball, however you know it. And we'll leave you with this one. It is the goodbye song. And just got John's lovely little sense of humour going on. And at the end of the goodbye song, we'll play 2 tunes that came from that time as well. They're tunes from this part of the world. We're going to play 2 polkas. The first one, I love this tune. It's from down the road at Binda, and it's the Binda heel and toe polka. So they use it for the heel and toe, but it's different, and it's very cool, very funky. From John Warren and the Crooked Corner Band, one of the great old time bands. And the last tune we'll play for you tonight is Bill Cooper's polka. Bill's from Parkes. It says on the paper there from Forbes, but I'm almost certain Bill's from Parkes. And Rob Willis certainly has passed this tune on to us. And as soon as this tune starts up, I hear Rob's button accordion playing it. So thanks for coming and being part of the night. The variety nights are a lot of fun for us. In 2 weeks. Stay tuned, but we've got an unusual combination. We're going to have a gig for the Newcastle Hunter Valley Folk Club online, but it will be coming out like a Saturday streaming from our Facebook page too. We think it's still just being organised at the moment. That'll be in 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed yourself half as much as we have, we've enjoyed ourselves twice as much as you. Yeah. And we do pass the hat around, but don't feel obliged. But if you do want to throw a bit in, the website is the place for donations and album orders.
And for all the past concerts too, there's a whole index there.
Yeah, that's right. Some people have chosen to pay generous amounts and then kind of come for a few and disappear again. Whatever suits you. Thanks for being part of it. It would be tedious playing for these cameras if it wasn't for some smiley faces out there.
All right, now John's amazing goodbye song from Kiama in June 2000.
Not sung since June 2000.
Probably not.
No.
Goodbye to the music and dancing and beer. Goodbye to our friends until this time next year. Goodbye to Kiama, a great little town. If you fall in the blowhole, you'll probably drown.
Oh, we've sung and recited, we've danced and we've played, and the festival rules we've at all times obeyed. Good fellowship reigned in the festival bar. See David DeSanti and collect the gold star.
I'll load up the gear and bid farewell to friends, and sink a last drink as the festival ends. Roll up your Matildas and head down the track, and this time next year we'll be all coming back.
Now we've wallowed in music, in song and in rhyme. We got a bit pissed, but we had a good time. So thanks Wonga Willie, you've worked and you've planned, and we all agree you're Australia's best band. Goodbye to the music and dancing and beer. Goodbye to our friends until this time next year. Goodbye to Kiama, a great little town. If you fall in the blowhole, you'll probably drown. Hey! Take a trip to Binda. John Warren. Crooked Corner. Still some room on the dance floor. I'll send that one round again, Chloe. off to parks. Here we go. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. Stay safe and take care out there. I know we're all kind of planning to open up at the moment, and that seems like an inevitable thing, but still worthwhile. Just
Stay patient.
Stay patient, yeah. And in this house, we're gonna hold off until we're all got the vaccination, which means little Joanna's got to we've got to get the under 12 one going. So, well, we'll be patient, but we've really enjoyed coming and playing these online shows, and as long as you keep being interested, we'll keep coming and seeing.
Playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good idea.
Thanks, everyone.
See you. Bye.